Good morning, you guys. Say good morning.
You better go drink. Huh?
Say good morning. Video. Say good morning.
Good morning. Just think they can hear me over this dog over here.
I know, she's being obnoxious. So, Luffy is up on the couch with me. But I kind of want to explain how we ended up with 3 dogs. All of which are in service. My hair is literally like... Yeah. Really? Just lay down, Bubba's. Lay down. Good boy. So, I'm laying on the couch, and I'm laying on a towel because I just ended up in a bad allergy attack. And sore. But I want to explain to you kind of in the order that we got him, which is small. So, the first dog that we had is Maddie, the black one. She is also my epilepsy alert and response dog. I don't know what this was. But, yeah. And then years and years go by, and I get curious, and I go look at the place where we got Maddie from. Maddie was originally just my dog. I had only had her for a few months at that point, and me and my now husband, ended up together. And Maddie has had a daddy kind of figure in her life ever since me and him had been together. Initially, the situation that both me and Maddie were in was a domestic violence situation. That's a whole different video. But it was not good for me or Maddie. So, originally, I had to ask my, again, now husband, to take her. I couldn't explain why, because the person who was doing the domestic violence was standing literally right beside me. Yeah, so there's that. I got curious, trying to trying to find the place that we adopted her from. Actually, all 3 of them from. And then we ended up with 2 cats, which at the time we thought was a male and a female, which turned out to be a male and a male. So, yeah. Ended up going to get them fixed. What we thought was going to be a spay and neuter turned out to be a neuter and a neuter. Now, I'm not going to explain where we got them from because, again, the situation that they were in was not a good one, okay? Had to get rid of Joey because Joey wouldn't stop attacking people. So I had to make the executive decision, if you will, to get rid of him. And obviously, not something that I cared to, not something that I cared to deal with. Okay, come on now. Really? Really? But, yes. And then probably a couple of years, 2-3 years go by. Lingsar is probably about 3 or 4, maybe. I don't know. Honey? 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 Wookie!
Yeah, honey?
She's at her paw licking again, so I had to grab his attention and get him to...
Can't go through the night without having a good bath and dinner.
Oh, I know, right? And then I went back to the website where we got Maddie from, and found at the time Rachel. Rachel was the first, which is now Xena. We did actually end up adopting her. And the day that I went down, if I look like I'm staring into space, it's because I'm trying to remember in detail. I initially went down to go, I wanted to look at, Rachel. Now, at the time when I was reading Rachel's, which is now Xena, Xena's little blip thing, it says, "Hey, I come with Joey." They did, like, a 2-for-1 kind of deal, like, one adoption price for 2 dogs. That was unheard of from the place that we got them from. Now, when I found out that we were actually going to be able to get them, I had already saved up some extra money, and I had the adoption fee plus everything that we needed to pick up for these dogs, be it a collar, a leash, a harness, like whatever you wanted. Well, we get there, I have everything with me, and turns out Rachel is on hold, so I can't take her home that day. But I wasn't about to separate now Rachel and Joey, now Mufasa and Xena. I wasn't about to separate them, okay? We had brought Maddie down with us. Maddie was perfectly fine with them, and I knew Maddie would be just fine. Like, we thought at the time that Joey was going to be a little problematic with Maddie because he had never met Maddie. It was quite the opposite. It was, again, Xena. It was Xena who was being the problematic dog. So, they get past their little skiff at the time. And they bring Mufasa out, and they're fine. Like, they don't, they hit it off right away. They're like, "Hey, cool, another dog, how are ya?" You know? So, I go up the next day. Like, my commitment to these dogs from the get-go has been all or nothing. But when I had gone up to go and get them, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm putting it out to the universe, I'm doing everything that they can to not take Rachel. Okay? So I had put a secondary hold on Rachel and Joey. Again, Xena and Mufasa. So I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm doing everything they can. I'm like, please don't take this dog. I want this dog. I need this dog, you know? Everything I can. They didn't take her. They didn't want her. Woo! So I'm like, okay, cool. I go up the very next day. Again, I have everything with me. I was like, they're like, okay, so which one do you want? I'm like, oh no, I'm taking both. I'm taking both home. They were like, what? I'm like, what's so interesting about that? I'm taking both home. Like, I want both dogs. They're like, oh, okay, cool. My husband at this time was outside, didn't know anything that was going on. So, him and Maddie were outside. I'm inside doing all the paperwork, and it comes to paying the adoption fee. The lady at the front desk goes, no, you've been taken care of, you're fine. You just pick up your dogs and go. The adoption fee for these dogs was almost $200, okay? Come again? Like, what the hell did you just say to me? She's like, no, you're fine. So, the previous person who had them, who is still anonymous to me, so if you guys paid the adoption fee, please let me know, okay? I want to thank you for these dogs. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you did it. But what the shelter told me was you wanted them to go home together so badly that you paid, when you found out that they were going home together, you actually paid the adoption fee for me. So, thank you. So at this point, they're going back. I explain what gear goes to what dog. Cool, fine, Gucci. Okay. I go out, grab my husband, put Maddie in the car for a split second. It was cold, so she was fine. But put her in the car, grab my husband, I tell him, come on in. And I had my camera rolling, but I cannot for the life of me find this clip, okay? I had my camera rolling on my phone, like I was recording him. They brought Xena out first. And I go, open your eyes. Look that way. And the first thing he does is go jaw dropped. Only to find out that she looks just like one of his dogs that passed away. Blue dog. Getting me all emotional over here. He didn't know what to do. At the time, I'm like, she's yours. I had no idea what to do. She came out, greeted him, and I knew right away they were going to be perfect for each other. I knew I had picked the right one. And then they brought Joey, now Mufasa, and I explained to them ahead of time. I'm like, look, I can almost guarantee you both of these dogs are going to leave here with a different name. She goes, okay, so what do you want to name Rachel? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. By the time we left that spot, she still didn't have a name. It wasn't until we got her home that he came up with Xena. And for the life of me, I could not remember that name. But I knew ahead of time that Joey was my Mufasa. I've always wanted a bigger male dog, and I always wanted to name them Mufasa. So I got my Mufasa. She's like, if it means anything, can I ask why you didn't want his name to be Joey? I'm like, I had a cat that I once upon a time had that I had to get rid of, and his name was Joey. She goes, oh, so that name is a tender spot for you. I'm like, very, very tender. Yeah. So that's how we ended up with all of our animals. As for Lingstar, nobody seen him. Don't know where he went, where he is. Yeah. I love you guys. I hope you guys are having a good day. I did not expect this video to catch me on a tender spot.